After the Nigeria-Biafra Civil War, the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, was established on May 22, 1973 to give the youths the opportunity to leave their parents and stay alone to contribute to the betterment of the West Africa country, Nigeria. Interestingly, a few days ago, one of the serving corpers, Ashirita Agwamaye, went to the market in Lagos State to buy foodstuffs, but she was shocked that the prices of foodstuffs in the month of March have again increased far more than they were previous months. Apparently faced with the heat of passion, Agwamaye took to social media to call on the youths to unite and defend the country from total economic collapse, saying it was her first time to leave her parents and start paying domestic bills alone, adding that the money she spends on transport is more than the monthly salary NYSC is paying her, begging the youths to stage a 30 days non-stop challenge protest to make the country President Bola Ahmed Tinubu she described as a terrible person to be alive to his political and institutional responsibilities of making cost of living reasonably okay for people to afford, stressing that some Nigerians are pretending to still be rich whereas the bad economy has pushed them into poverty. This, Reno Omokri, former presidential spokesperson who have been living abroad since 2014, reacted and said that there is no country in the world where a paramilitary official like the Corper is permitted to criticize the government. The Youth Corps member was seen in the video crying and weeping over the deteriorating economic condition of the West Africa state. According to her, less than 24 hours after she made the video, some officials of the NYSC summoned her to her primary place of assignment, PPA Local Government Area Office, and the audio recording of the suspected NYSC official she made available to the public. The NYSC official could be heard raining curses and abusing her on the phone for criticizing the government over the apparent terrible economic hardship currently staring millions of Nigerians in the face. Former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, commended the Corp member for speaking out. Atiku said, "Ray embodies the spirit of a new generation of women who champion the ideals of popular participation and unwavering advocacy in the political sphere. I deeply admire her boldness and wisdom, her fearless resolve to speak truth to power, undeterred by the weight of opposition. She follows in the footsteps of formidable trailblazers like Gambo Sawaba, Funmilayo Ransom Kuti, Margaret Ekpo and countless other women who have stood resolute in defense of the common good. Rather than being met with hostility, Ray deserves encouragement and support. She is a shining emblem of the Nigerian youth, a testament to the long-held promise that the leaders of tomorrow are already among us, ready to shape a better future." Former Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, also commended the Corp member for highlighting the troubling trends ongoing in Nigeria. Peter Obi said, "The National Youth Corps member, Ashirita Agwamaye, also known as Ray, recently had an experience that highlights a troubling trend in our nation, one where voices of reason and truth are met with intimidation rather than dialogue and engagement. Reports indicate that she has faced threats from NYSC officials simply for expressing her concerns about the current administration. This pattern is not isolated. I, too, have been subjected to threats for daring to offer constructive suggestions and comments. I now face daily intimidation, harassment, and name-calling simply for expressing solution-based views on government policies. Such actions are antithetical to the principles of democracy. A government that silences its citizens is not democratic, or one that is subject to accountability and good governance and is most often corrupt. I urge the current administration to reflect deeply on its approach to dissent and recognize that constructive criticism is a cornerstone of democratic progress. To all patriotic Nigerians, our nation's future and development depend on our collective courage to speak out against misgovernance, injustice, and intimidation. Do not let fear stifle your voice. Stand firm, support one another, and continue to advocate for Nigeria we all envision. A nation where freedom of speech is sacrosanct, and leadership is accountable to the people, especially in critical areas such as education, healthcare, and poverty alleviation. A just and prosperous Nigeria should be one where people like Ray are encouraged to speak out about the challenges they face, while those in government take urgent action to address these issues. Condemning the action of the Youth Corps member, Reno Omokri reacted and said thus: "In any country on earth, you can criticize your government and its leaders if you are a member of the military forces and paramilitary services. However, you are expected to resign your commission or leave the force to do so. For the same reason, you cannot be a serving member of a military force and paramilitary service and contest for an election. You can contest, but you will have to resign your commission or leave the service to do so. In the United Kingdom, it is even more extreme. Please fact-check me. According to the last guidelines in the HSR2, General Principles of Conduct of the British Civil Service, you must give your undivided allegiance to the state. They have no problem with you attacking the government, but you must resign to do so. Many Nigerians are just very sentimental. They do not think. They just jump on trends. The National Youth Service Corps is actually a paramilitary reserve force. That is why it is a corps. It is just like the Federal Road Safety Corps, only that the FRSC is a career, and the NYSC is just for a year. Read the NYSC enabling law. The federal government of Nigeria can deploy NYSC Corps members to fight during a state of war. Read, it is in the NYSC Act. If every Corps member was allowed to criticize the government, there would be no discipline in the Corps, and any presidential aspirant supporting this behavior would be irresponsible. There is no perfect government on earth. If we allow Corps members criticize governments publicly, morale in the Corps will collapse. Not may, will, and the NYSC will become an anything-can-happen institution that gradually loses its relevance and credibility as various Corps members start vying to outdo themselves in attacking whichever government policy they dislike. People aspiring to lead Nigeria ought to know these things. Not everything should be politicized. Please wait until after your 1 year of service. Then, you can join El Rufai or Peter Obi's campaigns or their parties. But if you cannot wait for 1 year, resign now and join them, Reno Omokri stated. On December 23, 2024, we had reported that there are uncertainties over the economic situation that await Nigerians and other residents in the West Africa country in 2025 after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu presented the sum of 49.7 trillion naira's 2025 budget appropriation bill before the joint session of the Senate and House of Representatives of the National Assembly, with a revenue target of 34.82 trillion nairas, hikes the dollar to naira exchange rate by 100%, from 750 nairas in 2024 to pegging amount of 1,500 nairas in 2025. It would be recalled that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in his first budget presentation as Nigeria President on November 29, 2023, pegged 750 nairas to $1 as exchange rate for 2024. The president pegged the dollar rate at 750 nairas when the foreign currency was fluctuating between 856 nairas and 900 nairas as at last quarter of 2023. The 750 nairas dollar rate pegging for 2024 by the president saw the foreign currency currently exchanging between 1,656 nairas and 1,700 nairas, representing more than 100% negative increasement in the last quarter of 2024 when compared to the dollar rate as of December 2023. With the president pegging 2025 dollar rate at 1,500 nairas, there are possibilities that the dollar may trade between 2,856 nairas and 3,000 nairas before the end of the last quarter of 2025. In line with the previous year's economic and exchange rate behavioral patterns and realities in the country. This shows there may be more harder and tougher times in 2025 for larger numbers of residents, both the middle class and the poor in the country, as the federal government showed more wider vision and quest for more revenue in the year ahead. The 2025 budget shows that more than 30% of the 49.7 trillion naira will be used to service existing loans, with the government planning to borrow more new loans in 2025, sequel to the budget deficit of more than 13 trillion naira. According to local media, the passage of the 2025 appropriation bill for second reading within 24 hours by the lawmakers marks an important milestone in the budgeting process. The bill will undergo further scrutiny and debate before its final passage. As the Senate resumes its plenary session in January, lawmakers are expected to delve deeper into the budget and make necessary adjustments so that it aligns with the country's development priorities. Details of the 2025 budget presentation as reported by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga reads in full below. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu Wednesday in Abuja assured Nigerians of better days ahead as economic reforms begin to yield positive results, with noticeable signals in improved security, education, healthcare, and a globally acknowledged 3.4% GDP growth in third quarter of 2024. President Tinubu gave the assurance at the National Assembly during presentation of the 49.7 trillion Naira's 2025 appropriation bill to the joint session of the Senate and House of Representatives, attributing the successes recorded so far in economic reforms to the patience, resilience and tolerance of Nigerians in supporting the process. The President projected an expenditure bill of 49.7 trillion Naira's, which is 35% higher than the 28 trillion Naira's budget of 2024, with priority on education, healthcare and security. President Tinubu said the 2025 budget will focus on restoration, securing peace and rebuilding prosperity, which reflects the core vision of the renewed hope agenda of improving the livelihood of Nigerians through the strengthening of social and physical infrastructure, and ensuring inclusivity in reaching development goals. The 2025 budget proposal again reinforces our administration's roadmap to secure peace, prosperity, and hope for a greater future for our beloved nation. This budget, christened Budget of Restoration, Securing Peace, Rebuilding Prosperity, strikes at the very core of our renewed hope agenda and demonstrates our commitment to stabilizing the economy, improving lives, and repositioning our country for greater performance. The journey of economic renewal and institutional development, which we began 18 months ago as a nation, is very much underway. It is not a journey of our choosing but one we had to embark on for Nigeria to have a real chance at greatness. I thank every Nigerian for embarking on this journey of reforms and transformation with us. The road of reforms is now clearly upon us, and as the President of this blessed nation, I know this less traveled road has not been easy, that there have been difficulties and sacrifices. They will not be in vain, and we must keep faith with the process to arrive at our collectively desired destination, the President said. President Tinubu noted that the 2025 budget will focus on restoration and seek to consolidate on the key policies instituted to restructure the economy to boost human capital development, increase the volume of trade and investments, bolster oil and gas production, and get the manufacturing sector humming again and ultimately increase the competitiveness of our economy. He said the ongoing economic reforms would not be reversed, rather it will be strengthened to build on the gains of stimulating the economy to be more robust, equitable, predictable and globally competitive. We do not intend to depart from this critical path to strengthen the Nigerian economy. Just as I believe in the resilience of our economy to withstand the current challenges, I also strongly believe in the resilience of the Nigerian people. Again, I summon the unstoppable Nigerian spirit to lead us on as we work to rebuild the fabric of our economy and existence. The improvements we witnessed in the 2024 budget have led us into the 2025 budget. The goals of advancing national security, creating economic opportunities, investing in our youthful population, infrastructure development, and national reorientation form the core of the 2025 budget. But more than that, this will lay a solid foundation for Nigeria's future growth trajectory, President Tinubu stated. The President told the lawmakers that the Nigerian economy was gradually rebounding. I report today that our economy is responding positively to stimulus. Our objective is to further stimulate the economy through the implementation of targeted fiscal stimulus packages through public expenditures and specific non-inflationary spending. The reforms we have instituted are beginning to yield results. Nigerians will soon experience a better and more functional economy. Global economic growth for the outgoing year 2024 was projected at 3.2%, and against predictions, our country made significant progress. Our economy grew by 3.46% in the third quarter of 2024, up from 2.54% in the third quarter of 2023. Our foreign reserves now stand at nearly $42 billion, providing a robust buffer against external shocks. Our rising exports are reflected in the current trade surplus, which now stands at 5.8 trillion naira, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. These clear results of gradual recovery, among others, reflect the resilience of our economy and the impact of deliberate policy choices we made from the outset, he added. On the performance of the 2024 budget, President Tinubu said remarkable milestones were achieved, with 14.55 trillion naira in revenue, meeting 75% of target as of the third quarter, while 21.60 trillion naira was recorded in expenditure, representing 85% of target in the third quarter. The president noted that outlook on 2025 was more positive for Nigerians. The 2025 budget seeks to restore macroeconomic stability, enhance the business environment, foster inclusive growth, employment, and poverty reduction, promote equitable income distribution and human capital development. Our budgetary allocations reflect the administration's strategic priorities, especially in the implementation of the renewed Hope Agenda and its developmental objectives. In 2025, we are targeting 34.82 trillion naira in revenue to fund the budget. Government expenditure in the same year is projected to be 49.7 trillion naira, including 15.81 trillion naira for debt servicing. A total of 13.08 trillion naira, or 3.89% of GDP, will make up the budget deficit. This is an ambitious but necessary budget to secure our future, the president added. President Tinubu said the government would target inflation and bring it to 15%, improve foreign exchange from approximately 1,700 naira per US dollar to 1,500 naira, and a base crude oil production assumption of 2.06 million barrels per day, MBPD. Other projections for 2025, the president explained, will include reduced importation of petroleum products alongside increased export of finished petroleum products, bumper harvests, driven by enhanced security, reducing reliance on food imports, increased foreign exchange inflows through foreign portfolio investments, higher crude oil output and exports, coupled with a substantial reduction in upstream oil and gas production costs. The budget projects inflation will decline from the current rate of 34.6% to 15% next year, while the exchange rate will improve from approximately 1,700 naira per US dollar to 1,500 naira, and a base crude oil production assumption of 2.06 million barrels per day, MBPD, he said. President Tinubu said the priority areas for the 2025 budget allocations are defense and security, 4.91 trillion nairas, infrastructure, 4.06 trillion nairas, health, 2.48 trillion nairas, and education, 3.52 trillion nairas. Our administration has so far disbursed 34 billion naira to over 300,000 students via the Nigeria Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund. In the 2025 budget, we have made provision for 826.90 billion naira for infrastructure development in the educational sector. This provision also includes those for the Universal Basic Education, UBEC, and the 9 new higher educational institutions, he noted. In his remarks, the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, thanked the President for his bold and courageous effort in rebuilding the Nigerian economy, assuring that the lawmakers will remain selfless and patriotic in supporting the reforms, particularly at the grassroots. Describing President Tinubu as a national treasure, Senator Akpabio commended the President for improvement in security, international recognition and treatment of Nigerians with more dignity, facilitating student loans, reduced debt servicing, social security for the less privileged and signing of the minimum wage bill with promptness. He said those critical of the proposed tax reforms should create more time to study the details of the bill before the National Assembly. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, said the tax reform will ensure equitable, efficient collection and utilization of revenue and ensure more consideration for the underprivileged and vulnerable Nigerians. He said the lawmakers would continue to support the president to realize his dream for the country.
I genuinely feel so overwhelmed, and I feel like if a lot of Nigerians come out and start speaking on what we are actually going through, then maybe changes will be made in the government. Don't you guys think? And this video, I just want to say to our president, I don't know if there have been any other president that is terrible, but you are such a terrible president. It is so hard. So I'm coming from the supermarket where I went to get foodstuffs, and everything has gone up again. It's just like every single week prices increase. I want to know, what is the government doing about this increment? Is there going to be a particular time where prices will stop going up? Is there going to be a particular time where things are going to go back? Guys, why am I going to get a crate of egg and they're telling me it is 6.5? It doesn't make any sense that egg will cost 6.5. Like, I literally can't remember when egg used to cost 800. And I'm so overwhelmed because this is literally my first time doing this adulthood thing alone. This is my first time moving out of my family house. This is my first time living by myself. And not just that, after I left the supermarket and I got home, my security is bringing NEPA bill, and NEPA bill has gone up by 2 times. Like, it's insane. I can't keep up with these bills. I am so overwhelmed and I'm so exhausted. Every single money that I have been making, I'm using it to pay bills. I don't even get to live properly. The craziest thing was, you want to go out to a certain location with your friends, and Uber is about 25,000. Like, even Uber, that we can't even take Uber. It is crazy. Like, why are things so expensive? And let's not even Lagos stinks. Lagos smells like shit. If you say, okay, I want to take a walk, I'm depressed, let me just take a walk, you can't even take a walk. Like, the place smells like crazy. Why does an entire state smell like this? And what is the government doing about the bad smell? Everything is just so overwhelming. You want to start up a business, and now you have to take a loan to start up a business, and the loan, you don't even know if you can actually repay it, because in the business, I don't know, I'm just so tired. Like, why is no one saying anything about it? Being an NYSC Corper, there's nothing beneficial about this whole NYSC thing. The money I spend on transportation is just more than the alawi the government gives me. Like, it doesn't, I can't keep up. Like, I'm so tired of this bill and I can't keep up. I am overwhelmed and I'm tired, I'm exhausted. It's too much, and I wish that we would start calling the government out heads on. For example, Tinubu, you are a terrible president. Like, what are you doing to help us? What are you doing to help the economy? You are so terrible. I'm so sick and tired of Nigerians acting like we are strong, and they say, oh, Nigerians, we are actually very strong. Oh, no matter how much they increase things, we still chest it. No, it is not cute. We are cowards. That is a cowardly behavior. You don't stand to ask people, oh, why is this expensive? For example, MTN, what the fuck is even going on? Literally, I spend over like 20,000 on data in a week, and I'm not even joking. 1.5 data cannot even last me for an entire day. I have to do 1.5 like 2 times a day, which is like 3,000 a day. It is too much. Like, what are you guys doing about it? Like, what is happening? I'm tired of paying bills. I feel like I don't have anything.
Good morning.
I feel like I don't have any achievement to call my own. Every single time that I work hard, I'm spending it back in the economy to pay bills, and I wasn't created to pay bills. I'm just really tired, and I just want our money to count for something. And when is the government going to actually start working? Because Nigerians are so classist. Everybody now wants to behave as if they are rich. Everybody is faking wealth, but we are ending up being poor because we are struggling so hard to look rich. We're ending up being poor. So I need us as Nigerians to please start calling the government out. We should be tired of this by now. We need to call the government out. Prices need to start one place. Food needs to start one place. The economy needs to start one place. Like, we are tired. It's just too much. The more you work hard to achieve something, the higher it gets. The dream car that I was saving money for has literally gone double. I can't even afford it anymore. Instead, I'm going to use my money to buy to just keep paying bills. And now house rent is double. Like, I am so sick and I'm so tired of this, and I really need the government to intervene because I am so overwhelmed. decide that we want to start calling Nigerian government out, don't you guys know that a lot of changes will actually be made in the environment or in the society or in our economy as well? Let me tell you guys something. There's nothing Nigerian government hates more than when external bodies start tapping into our economy. They hate it so much, and I don't know why. Is it because maybe external bodies actually give us funds or something? Maybe that's why they hate it. Now, I want you guys to think back to every time that Nigerians actually spoke up. Is there a time that we spoke up and a change was not made? Like, is there a time? If we decide that we want to run a 30 days challenge where we're going to complain about the economy, we'll keep complaining about the economy. Do you guys not know that people will start looking into it? Like, oh, what's going on in Nigeria? Why are people complaining so much? And they will start making changes. Now, let me tell you guys something, Ba. You see, we as the Nigerian youth, we don't come close to our parents. This generation we are always blaming. It is because of this generation that we had a stable income. It is because of this generation that biscuit was 15 naira from my primary school until my university. It's because of this generation. They are the ones that fought for that stable government that we enjoyed. They were the youth in their time, and when they had bad government, they stood up to it and they fought for it. Now that it's our turn, people are commenting in the caption and saying, in the comments and saying, oh, they are going to pick you up. Oh, you think you're very dark man. I don't think I'm anyone. I just think I'm a Nigerian who is suffering and I'm tired of it. And I need someone to actually come out and say, okay, it's enough. Prices will stay one place. That's what I need. I'm sick and tired of this. Are you guys not tired? Number one, in case you guys don't know, go and take a look at Abacha. In case you guys don't know, Abacha was like a president at a particular time, right? And there was a time where our parents had to start using something called Abacha stove because they couldn't even get kerosene. What happened to Abacha? I don't need to be the one to tell you. Go and look up history and know what happened to them. What happened to him? Every single time our parents had the chance, they fought for a better government. And that is why they could use 100,000 naira to raise 4 children. Middle class children. Your parents is earning 100,000, you say you're middle class. It's because they fought for it. It reached our turn now. Every time they say, come out and talk about the government, someone will say, Abego, they will shoot. We employ those people. It is because of us those people are in power. It's because of you. You voted for them to be in power. They are working for you. If you don't hold them accountable, who is going to hold them accountable? Who will hold them accountable? Because we are so used to adjusting to the system that they don't see that there's a problem. If you come out and you speak, there's a problem. They need to hear us and they need to make changes. Now, let me start first. Which state are you located in? You need to start calling out the governor of that state. It's not only the president we hold accountable, hold governors accountable. Now let me start with Governor Sanwo-Olu. What's up with you? What's up with you? Like, what's going on with Lagos? Because I live in Lagos State. The roads are terrible. Have you seen the potholes? You're the governor of Lagos State. Are you not on the road, yeah? Are you not driving on the road? Are you not seeing the potholes? There's no drainage system in Lagos. Lagos smells like it's like I said yesterday. What are you doing about it, Governor Sanwo-Olu? What are you doing about it? Look at the way people are begging in Lagos. Are you not tired? What are you doing about it? What are you doing with the government allocated funds that they are sending to you? Can you come out and tell us, oh, people living in Lagos, so I beg, this is what I've been doing so far. I've been building roads. I've been doing schools. What are you doing about it? What are you doing with the money that they are giving to you? You need to come out and start telling us what you're doing, because we've been keeping quiet for way too long. And I'm urging all Nigerians to come out and speak to, like, is this not tiring? Why am I buying foodstuffs over 200k that is supposed to be worth 50k? Everything is 3 in price. 333. You wake up this morning, electricity is 2.5. Tomorrow is 3.5. Why are things always going up every single week? Why do we have no stable price list? Every time restaurants are peeling paper to add new paper, they'll plaster new paper on top. Now it's our turn to actually fight for the government, and people are suggesting that we should jack from the country. You guys, we are the biggest ever. Because why are we running from country that our parents worked so hard with their bare hands to actually create a foundation for? Why is it our turn and we have to run away from the country? Why can't we stand up and ask these people? We need to hold these people accountable. They need to tell us what they have been doing with the government allocated funds, and they need to come out and start telling us. It's time for us to actually be angry. I'm not angry, because I'm very angry. And Governor Sanwo-Olu, you need to come out and tell us what you're doing with government allocated funds for Lagos State. What are you doing? President Tinubu, what measures have you been putting in place that the government or the governors have been reporting to you to tell you what they are doing? Because you alone, you're not the only one, you know. You're not the only one. So when we drag you by the collar, you drag the governors. What measures have you been putting in place to make sure that there's price regulation? So guys, yesterday I made a video talking about the Nigerian government and how terrible President Tinubu is, and I was crying in the video. So 30 minutes ago, I just received a call from the NYSC board, starting with the secretariat before the LGI. And for the secretariat, for the NYSC secretariat, I'm going to attach what she said, some of the things she said, so you guys will hear.
Are you normal?
I wasn't insulting the president, ma. I was only asking for accountability.
Hold down that rubbish you put there.
Ma, are you threatening me?
Hold down that rubbish. You are not talking to your mate.
Ma, she called me and she was shouting and she was threatening me to take down the video. And I'm in my first mind, I'm like, wait, how did they get my phone number? And then I realized that every NYC Corper has to fill a file with your phone number and your address. I'm like, these people actually have my house address and they know where I'm staying. And now they have started calling me first to threaten me. It is so bad that you can't even just speak up about the government because they feel like they have chains to hold you. You're already calling me to threaten me. And this is, I will literally attach what she said so you guys can hear. She was telling me that I was insulting the president. I never insulted the president. I said he's terrible. That is not an insult. It is a statement, and I did not go on and start saying, oh, Tinubu, you're this, you're that. I just said he's a terrible president. And it's okay for a government, for a body to identify that, okay, this person is actually terrible at their job. So why is it a problem that the NYC government, NYC secretariat, or NYC board will call me to threaten me? Like, why is that okay? That I can't speak up for something that is directly hurting me? Why is it okay that they will call me to threaten me under 24 hours that I made a video? Why can't Nigerians speak up? Why are they holding us in chains? Why do they feel like everything that we do, they have ways to control us? Let me tell you guys something, NYC board or whatever. If you guys have come together and you like, maybe you're not calling me one by one to threaten me, that's fine. You can do whatever you want to do. Because I know that you guys already have plans. The one that this one is calling me, the next person is calling me, that's fine. But now I'm putting it out here so you guys will see and you guys will know. NYC, they have my house address and they are started calling me to threaten me. So in case anything happens, you will be very much aware where the problem started. Because I did not say anything I shouldn't have said. The Nigerian government are not doing anything about the inflation that is happening. And it's causing us to be very depressed. I am depressed and my bank account is going to zero and I still have to live every day. And I'm asking the Nigerian government to do something.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, in a video and written press statement a few minutes ago, said that the Russia government led by President Vladimir Putin has continued another new week of war against the people of Ukraine with massive assaults on all front lines despite the 30-day ceasefire proposal requested by the United States under the leadership of Donald Trump from both countries. According to Zelenskyy, today, the commander-in-chief provided a report on the battlefield situation. Fighting and our defensive operations continue along almost the entire front line, including many key locations, from the Kharkiv region and the Kupiansk sector to the southern directions. After the talks in Jeddah and the American proposal for a ceasefire on the front line, Russia stole almost another week, a week of war that only Russia wants. We will do everything to further intensify diplomacy. We will do everything to make diplomacy effective. But every day now is about defending our independence, our state, and our people. We must remember, it is the support of our army, all our defense and security forces, and our state that determines everything. I thank each and every one who does not forget that Ukraine's defense and resilience are paramount. I am grateful to all Ukrainian soldiers, every one of our units. I thank everyone who works for our defense and for our state. I thank all Ukrainians for every fundraiser for our Ukrainian army. We must remember, as long as the occupier is on our land, and as long as air raid sirens sound, we must defend Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine. It would be recalled that President Vladimir Putin, in a press conference held during the week in Moscow, said that he needed to speak directly with President Donald Trump over the details of the 30-day ceasefire proposed by the North America country, stating categorically that Russia supports the ceasefire proposal, but the details of the proposal needed to be clarified as to know what would happen to the Ukrainian troops that invaded the Russia-Kursk region last August and the ones among them that have been captured. President Donald Trump during the week raised alarm that the Ukrainian troops in the Kursk region have been encircled by Russian soldiers, and appealed to President Vladimir Putin to spare their lives. But President Putin replied and said that all the Ukrainian troops in the Kursk region should surrender and be spared. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, in a statement during a virtual meeting with the heads of European countries during the preceding week, said that Ukrainian troops are not encircled by Russia in the Kursk region, adding that, President Vladimir Putin of Russia is lying about the true picture of what is going on in the Kursk region. At the end of the European leaders' meeting, the UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, said that the European leaders agreed to send peacekeeping troops to Ukraine, announcing that military chiefs from the European countries will meet this coming Thursday. We have reported that President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has listed and disclosed the 3 key points in the proposal the Ukrainian delegation submitted to the United States, US team, which included the transfer and release of prisoners, stoppage of bombings both on the sea and skies, and the release of women and children forcefully taken to Russia based on the command of President Vladimir Putin, when the Ukrainian delegates, led by the head of the presidential office, Andriy Yermak, Foreign Minister, Andriy Sybiha, Defense Minister, Rustem Umerov, and military official, Pavlo Palitsa, met in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on Tuesday with the representatives of the US, which included the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, President Donald Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and Trump's advisor, Mike Waltz. President Zelenskyy, in a statement on Tuesday after the meeting, praised and thanked the US for proposing 30 days ceasefire on all front lines. We had reported that more than 25 persons have been reportedly killed during the week in Ukraine since President Vladimir Putin of Russia scale up and double his offensive attacks on the neighboring European country, with President Donald Trump continuing during the week to block more US military aid to the troubled country and making statements seemingly capable of demoralizing Ukrainian troops and probably inciting the entire Ukrainian citizens against their president, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, just as reports indicated that in the last 3 days, Russia troops have advanced, reaching some territories in the Kursk region, and they are about encircling the thousands of Ukrainian troops who had last summer stormed and took over the Russia-Kursk region by surprise in anticipation to use the conquered Russia-Kursk region as leverage to be able to hold meaningful negotiations with Moscow in any peace talks. As unverified and unsubstantiated rumors have spread widely in the North America country, the US, that President Donald Trump was one of the US businessmen contracted in 1987 as Russia spy, with Alnur Musiev, the former Kazakhstan National Security Committee, KNB head and former Kazakh intelligence chief who served in the 6th Directorate in Moscow of the KGB, a Russian-language abbreviation for State Security Committee, which was the main internal security agency for the Soviet Union from 1954 until its breakup in 1991, insisting that recruiting Western businessmen was a top priority for Soviet intelligence. And Donald Trump was allegedly recruited by his department as a spy against the United States with a nickname, Krasnov. We have reported that President Vladimir Putin-led Russia apparently has taken advantage of the lapses coming from the United States, US, that has been its secret war rival since 1945, following the actions of President Donald Trump turning US back on Ukraine by thus stopping and blocking military aid and military intelligence to Ukraine, and obviously made Putin to launch massive drone, cruise and ballistic missile attacks on Ukraine, with some US citizens narrowly escaping deaths on Wednesday night when Russia struck a hotel with a ballistic missile that travels 5 times faster than the speed of sound, killing 4 persons and reportedly injured over 30 others at Kryvyi Rih city, with the Ukrainian military saying they were able to repel all other missiles but could not repel the ballistic airstrikes, according to BBC. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said that the France F-16 jets and Mirage aircrafts were used to defend the Ukrainian skies, adding that the France Mirage aircraft successfully intercepted Russia cruise missiles. We had reported that the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, in a written and video statement on Monday, has said that what Ukrainians need is a true and honest peace deal and not endless war, just as President Donald Trump of the US and one of the world's richest billionaires, Elon Musk, had continued to use their privileged office and position in the society to launch a terrorist-like media Cold War against the person of President Zelenskyy, apparently to weaken his zeal and cause public disaffection against the Ukrainian president by thus using dangerous negative communication styles of half-truth, manipulated facts, deliberate misrepresentation of facts, misinterpretation of words, spin logic, bullying, game-shaming, blaming, belittling, mockery and trying to hold Ukraine ransom by blocking US military aid to the troubled country for a war. It appears Donald Trump is the first US president that kick-started it by thus. The Trump administration first approved the sale of Javelin anti-tanks missiles to Ukraine in December 2017, after civil unrest ensued in Ukraine in 2014 with a protest codenamed Revolution of Dignity which ousted and forced into exile in Russia the then pro-Russia president, Viktor Fedorovich Yanukovych on February 22, 2014, just a day after, President Vladimir Putin mobilized troops and invaded Ukraine, succeeded in taking over Ukraine territorial land of Crimea, an action the then US President, Barack Obama retaliated by only placing sanctions on Russia assets for violating the constitutional rights of Ukraine. The 2017 action of Donald Trump was a step that former President Barack Obama never took, which Trump allies pointed to be a sign of Trump's toughness on Russia and good for US business, which giving Ukraine lethal weapons had been a red line for Obama, who feared that it could cause Russia to escalate conflict, which President Vladimir Putin-led Russia actually did, and Ukraine has been fighting Russian soldiers and Russia-backed armed separatists in its eastern provinces since 2014, shortly after Russia illegally occupied and annexed Crimea, in a war that has claimed approximately 13,000 lives and displaced 1.5 million people, according to the Ukrainian government before Volodymyr Zelenskyy became Ukrainian president in May 20, 2019 on the platform of Servant of the People political party, and before Zelenskyy became president, Putin violated 3 ceasefire peace deals under Donald Trump in January, February and March 2019, and as of December 2019, Ukrainian military reported a total of more than 70 ceasefire deals violated by Putin-led Russia. And during his inaugural speech on May 20, 2019, when Volodymyr Zelenskyy took office as president of Ukraine, he said his priority was a ceasefire in the Donbass, and also asserted that Crimea and Donbass are Ukrainian land, and that the people living in those regions are not strangers, they are ours, Ukrainians, truly. On December 9, 2019, the Russian President, Vladimir Putin, French President, Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor, Angela Merkel and Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelenskyy met in person in Paris, France and agreed on a ceasefire and prisoners exchange, but, on same day, 3 Ukrainian soldiers were killed by a landmine by Russian-backed forces who violated the ceasefire 7 more times in December using BMP-1 armored vehicles, grenade launchers, heavy machine guns, and small arms. This Ukrainian military recorded additional 47 ceasefire peace deals violations in 2020, more than 180 ceasefire peace deals violations in 2021 until February 24, 2022. President Vladimir Putin declared full-scale war on Ukraine, describing US government, previous and present he referred to as Washington during his war declaration nationwide address, as an empire of liars. We had reported that President Donald Trump of the United States, US may be trying to cause unnecessary confusion to the traditional way of war settlements which date back to the end of World War I in 1918 and World War II in 1945, when Germany, considered as the aggressor, was made to pay damages or reparation or the costs incurred by the US, Britain, France and the Soviet Union, which comprises Russia, Ukraine and 13 other republics, when Germany on August 1, 1914 mobilized troops from Berlin to support the defunct Austria-Hungary country, which included German-speaking Austrians, Magyars, Slavs, and Italians after the Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia on June 28, 1914, following the bombing and shooting to death the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife, Sophie, the Duchess of Hohenberg, by a suspected group of extremists from Serbia that wanted to increase Serbian power in the Balkans by breaking up the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the shooting specifically was carried out by a 19-year-old Gavrilo Princip. Russia came to the aid of Serbia, and with the support of other countries like Britain and France, Austria-Hungary was defeated after so many deaths, especially on the side of Serbia civilian populations, and at the end of the World War I, Germany was made to pay the damages and costs of war as the aggressor, and on September 1, 1939, Adolf Hitler of Germany, who is considered a nationalist extremist, on his apparent quest to expand Iron race in Europe, invaded Poland, a border country whose people were considered inferior and powerless people, likely the same way Vladimir Putin of Russia may have seen Ukrainians. The action of Adolf Hitler forced Britain, France, US, and the Soviet Union to declare war on Germany on September 3, 1939, and they defeated Germany at the end of the World War II in 1945 after Adolf Hitler and his top generals refused to surrender and reportedly committed suicides inside their underground bunkers after millions of deaths, especially Jews, and in order to make Germany unable to attack another country again. Britain, France and US occupied West Germany, including West Berlin, for years with capitalist economy system, and at the same time, the Soviet Union occupied East Germany, including East Berlin, with communist economy system, and Germany, considered as the aggressor, was again made to pay the damages or the costs of the World War II, which Germany has struggled to pay up to 2010, and it may be clear that no victim of World War I, Serbia and World War II, Poland was apparently made to pay debts or sign economic deals for the costs incurred by the countries that came to their aid. This may justify the action of Donald Trump requesting Ukraine to sign rare earth minerals deal with the US as criminally exploitative demand, and Donald Trump pushing the narratives that Europe will get their money back and US will not get its money back is seemly and half-truths made to mislead the public. Like President Emmanuel Macron of France recently corrected Donald Trump at the Oval Office that Europe is not getting the money back from Ukraine, that Russia is the one to pay them back the money, most especially from the seized Russia assets in Europe and the US under the immediate past. President Joe Biden seized billions of dollars of Russia assets confiscated to finance US aid to Ukraine. Interestingly, Vladimir Putin of Russia, who is also considered as a nationalist extremist like Adolf Hitler of Germany, on February 24, 2022, in a world news broadcast, made it very clear that he decided to declare special military operations in Ukraine because of US. That for many years, the US tried to expand its powers, stressing, he does not have problem with Europe or NATO, saying, NATO is the US foreign policy used by the North America to try to conquer Russia by thus enlisting some other countries that made up the defunct Soviet Union into NATO, and he would never allow US to assemble its military infrastructures in Ukraine, its closest neighboring country. Hence he decided to go after the pro-US Ukrainian politicians and government officials by demilitarizing Ukraine and reclaiming it as an independent territory he said was once part of Russia, adding that he mobilized Russia troops to invade and reclaim parts of Ukraine, which included Crimea, in 2014 in support of Russia-speaking people in Donbas he said were suffering humiliation and genocide attacked by Kyiv government for many years, which President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in several occasions has accused Putin of always sponsoring and organizing terrorists to kill Ukrainians. We had reported that the Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, has told United States, US President Donald Trump that Ukrainians don't need just a ceasefire from President Vladimir Putin-led Russia, but a complete end to the war, which Ukraine's security will be guaranteed from further or future invasions from the neighboring rival European country, adding that he was in the United States to sign rare earth mineral deals as drafted by both countries' teams, which included Ukraine's security guarantee. Making this statement at the Oval Office on Friday afternoon according to America local time, when the meeting went successful, smoothly, friendly and calmly for more than 35 minutes until the US Vice President, J.D. Vance, interrupted and brought in U.S. internal political matters into the Russia-Ukraine issue by thus condemning the administration of the immediate past President of the U.S., Joe Biden, for always appearing before the press to accuse Putin and Russia of bringing destructions to Ukraine without an act of diplomacy to peace path, which he said the current president, Donald Trump, is trying to achieve. and the Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, quickly responded and asked the US Vice President J.D. Vance what kind of diplomacy is he talking about, reminding the Vice President that Putin has been destroying lives in Ukraine for years during the era of previous presidents before Joe Biden, including 2014 when Russia took over Crimea, to 2022 and 2019 during the first tenure of President Donald Trump when he signed a ceasefire peace deal with Putin, but the Russia president broke the ceasefire and continued to destroy lives in Ukraine. Obviously and apparently annoyed, Vice President J.D. responded by accusing the visiting Zelenskyy of coming to the Oval Office to disrespect U.S. sitting president in his office, adding that no president in the world has ever done that before in the Oval Office. The full length of the meeting video footage and the Fox News interview with Zelenskyy shortly after the Oval Office meeting ended with heated arguments and series of crosstalks are published in full in our audio and video versions of this news reportage. We had reported that contrary to media speculations that the embattled Ukraine has reached an agreement with the United States, US-led President Donald Trump on the rare earth minerals deal required as exchange or economic benefits for the US to continue to assist the war-torn Ukraine with military aid against ongoing President Vladimir Putin-led Russia military destructions and bring peace to the country. The Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, in a video press release on Wednesday night debunks the speculations, saying, "The US and the Ukrainian teams have been working together in preparation for the negotiations on the terms of the economic deal this coming Friday in the US, signaling, no agreement has been reached yet." We had reported that the United States President, Donald Trump, has said that if the war in Ukraine is not stopped now, it could lead or escalate to World War III, with the visiting French President, Emmanuel Macron, insisting that Russia is the aggressor of the war, hence Russia must pay damages as part of the negotiations for the peace deal. But the US, in another meeting at the United Nations General Assembly on Monday, joined Russia to vote against a resolution condemning Russia over the war in Ukraine. We had reported that, following the public criticism of President Donald Trump of the United States that the Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, is a man who has lost touch with his people and a dictator who refused to conduct election for new leader to take over the affairs of the country, Zelenskyy, while asked if he could resign by a journalist at a press conference organized to mark the third-year anniversary of war in Ukraine, says he would do that if it would bring peace to Ukraine, and he's ready to do that as exchange for Ukraine to be enlisted as a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. We had earlier reported that despite the medical condition that he's under the high flow of oxygen in the hospital over double pneumonia, Pope Francis on Sunday, on the eve of the third-year anniversary of the war in Ukraine launched by President Vladimir Putin-led Russia government, called on everyone in the world to remember victims of the war in Ukraine, describing the war which started on February 24, 2022 as painful, shameful for all humanity. Previously, we reported that the Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, has continued his phone conversations with world leaders with a video and written press statement on Saturday saying that the world leaders must ensure that the Russian President, Vladimir Putin, is not allowed to deceive the world again, insisting that Putin has used Russian army, intelligence services and mercenaries over 30 years to bring deaths to America, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Syria. This, Zelenskyy stated after he began special defense campaign with phone conversations with world leaders following strained relationship with one of the countries that has majorly assisted Ukraine in its defense against Russia since 2022 when the war began, United States, US President Donald Trump, who threatened to stop military aid to Ukraine, claiming that Ukraine started the war it knows it cannot win, calling President Volodymyr Zelenskyy a modestly successful comedian and a dictator that deceived the immediate past US President, Joe Biden, to commit over $350 billion of US taxpayers' money on a war the North America country will not get any profit in return, with Ukrainian President accusing Donald Trump of coordinator of the Edo State Public Safety Response Team, PSR, Kelly Okungbowa aka Ebo Stone, The PSR team that was suspended on Friday indefinitely by the state government has debunked rumors and speculations that one of the PSR officials that was lynched by mob over the death of a 2-year-old baby girl in Benin City on Wednesday after the official allegedly dragged steering wheel with the bus driver of a moving vehicle is dead. Speaking with the PSR official at an undisclosed hospital in Benin City, Ebo Stone said he decided to do a video press release with the victim at the hospital bed to prove to those apparently happy over the unfortunate incident that the PSR official is not dead. There are indications that the deceased baby girl has been buried at a cemetery in Benin City. The parents and some other legal practitioners who identified themselves as lawyers to the bereaved family spoke one after the others, including the father and mother of the deceased child, stating that the matter has been resolved, in a video said to be recorded after the bereaved family met with some of the Edo state government officials at the PSR office in Benin City. Details on how the matter was resolved is yet to be stated, as the Edo state government under the leadership of Governor Monday Okungbowa is yet to issue an official statement regarding compensation to the bereaved family and legal action deemed necessary to be taken against the suspected manslaughters over the punishable negligible act and unnatural death of the baby. Meanwhile, one of the suspected members of the suspended PSR, simply identified as Abacha while speaking with Ebo Stone at the hospital with a swollen face and bandaged head, appealed to the public to forgive him. We had reported that the Edo state governor, Monday Okungbowa, has indefinitely suspended the operational activities of the State Public Safety Response Team, PSR, days after an official of the PSR allegedly dragged steering wheel with the driver of a moving bus, leading to an accident that killed a 2-year-old baby in Benin City. The state coordinator of the PSR, Okungbowa aka Ebo Stone, reacted and said he supported the governor for the PSR suspension. Some residents who witnessed the cause of the accident on Wednesday said one of the PSR officials, simply identified as Abacha, was seen dragging the steering wheel of a moving vehicle with the bus driver, and suddenly, the vehicle veered off the road and snatched the 2-year-old baby girl from her mother, who is a POS operator, and smashed the little girl on the road pavement. Edo state government, in a statement signed and made available by the secretary to the state government, Musa, stated that the decision was taken based on several complaints received by the state government on allegations of extortion, harassment and unruly behavior by members of the team. We had reported that the Edo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force has confirmed the killing of a 2-year-old baby after a bus driver rammed the bus into a group of pedestrians while running away from the Edo State Public Safety Response Team, PSR, at the highly populated Ring Road in Benin City. The state coordinator of the PSR, Okungbowa aka Ebo Stone, apologized to the bereaved family and promised to take action against the PSR official who allegedly gave the bus driver a chase. The police, in a statement on Thursday, said the PSR official was almost lynched to death by angry mob, but he was rescued due to the quick intervention of the men of the Esigi Police Division, adding that the tragic incident involves a white vaned bus with registration number Ben 406 ramming into some pedestrians, ostensibly to evade arrest by members of the Edo State Public Safety Response.
It's video.
I posted on social media as pastor, and I'm here this morning to visit him in the hospital to debunk every lie that they're saying on social media. He's here by the grace of God. He's attending to treatment.
Amen.
God has so faithful in his life. So that's why I keep on telling people, it's not everything that you hear or you see on social media.
You believe. Take this one video.
So you can talk to the camera. Come close.
Everybody, you see, I'm not going to say, they talk and say, I get that for God grace and respect to treatment,
I also feel sorry for the baby when that.
Feel sorry for the baby.
They want to say, oh, you know.
That's really the one.
The drug.
The feel sorry.
Maybe family will take that.
May they beg. May they beg. May they forgive us. I beg. It's not
I
intentional.
don't hear from the truth of the matter is we are not happy and now we are happy. We cannot question God. God has a video for me.
Yes.
I'm not supposed to do this video.
Yes.
I'm doing it because of the lie that is flying around the social media.
Yes.
And by the grace of God, God will heal you and
Amen.
also heal the heart of the family of the baby
Amen.
that lost her life.
Amen.
We want to say to those people, we want to appeal to you people in the people, please. We are sorry about what happened to very intentional. Nobody wants to come out to work in another person's child.
Yes.
It's unfortunately that it happened and we cannot question God. So we want to say thank you to those people for your support, for everything you guys have done. I say thank you and God bless.
Thank you, sir.
I'm O. Osaeho Esquire. I am representing the father, mother, and family of the late baby. We are here at the office of Okungbowa, popularly known as Ebo Stone, whose staff got entangled in an unfortunate incident that resulted to the loss of life of a little baby. The matter has been resolved amicably right here with the full agreement of the baby's father, mother, and his siblings. So the issue has been laid to rest.
Thank you.
To the benefit of mankind and to the glory of God.
Thank you. So the father
The father happened to be my brother.
tell the father.
Guyangwa.
So everyone, thank you.
For your support.
So the issue has been resolved.
Honor.
Thanks to God Almighty, and I appreciate everybody that is here. I know that the incident that happened, it was not proposed, but nobody can question God. So the damage has been done, and we are here as a family. So we have resolved the issue. So we can go and lay our baby to rest. I want to say thank you to everybody, both outside and in, and support. I appreciate your support. I say thanks to everybody.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from Justice Man. Tears in my heart, pains in my soul. What transpired was a fortunate incident that nobody can prevent. The God Almighty knows best. You hear what they say? We are not happy. There's no amount of settlement that we will do that will bring that child back. They want to use this million to appeal to the general public. Those who stood by them, those who were against us, we want to say thank you. We want to appreciate all the Edolites all over the world, both on social media, all the civil society group, everybody who stood firm to make sure they got justice in this unfortunate incident. We want to say thank you. I want to appreciate the state government and the governor for taking out this bold step to make sure this issue is resolved. And we want to appeal to the general public that they should see the public safety response team as a friend, not enemy. We have done a lot of job, but even if in one way or another something that was supposed to happen has happened, we want to appeal that the public should also accept us as one of their own, so that we keep on doing the best that we know how to do. So we want to appreciate Edo people, we want to appreciate the Nigeria police who came to intervene in the incident, and we want to appreciate everybody who are here, coming, Tony Kabaka, the barrister, SC on media, everybody, Gabriel Siduseri, everybody that is here, most especially the family of the disease. We want to appreciate you people. God Almighty bless you all. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much on behalf of the governor of Edo State. Once again, we express the governor expressed his sadness towards the unfortunate incident that happened. We also once again thank the family for their cooperation. Thank the stakeholders that are here, that made this meeting to be successful. We thank the barrister who was also here to ensure that the legal aspect of it, everything is really done. Once again, we thank Edo people for the understanding. And we say, by the grace of God, this kind of incident will not happen in this state again in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you all.
But before we leave, please. May the soul of Precious rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
My sister, God.
What's the
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.